There was no better time than the 1970s to play some arcade games or have a friendly game of Pong. It was also a great time to grab a drink or smoke a cigarette at almost any age. During a study taken in the mid-1980s, about 70% of people admitted to drinking alcohol before the legal drinking age and smoking before the legal age. It may not seem like it, but the world 30 years ago was completely different than it is today. Clearly in the past, there was not much information about the dangers of smoking and drinking, which meant that a lot more people participated in these dangerous activities. In the 21st century, children and everyone in general know more about the harmful side effects of smoking and drinking, which deters them from participating in these dangerous activities. Only a small percent of teenagers drink before the legal age, and a lot less people smoke due to the new information being released to the public. All in all, people are a lot safer today than they were 30 years ago. They have access to more mental health, preventing illnesses, and preventing bad habits starting from a young age, slowly causing the population to rise.
Overpopulation is when the human population is over the capacity of the Earth. The global population was a lot less a few hundred years ago. Before the 1900s, the global population was barely over 1 billion. However, the population would soon skyrocket due to the continuous and beneficial advances in medicine and agriculture. By the early 2000s, the population was up to an incredible 7.5 billion people. The global population of Earth increases by 200,000 people every day, a ridiculous amount by the looks of it, but the net gain is estimated to be around that. 400,000 babies are born each day, and 200,000 people pass away each day. However, many separate countries are already overpopulated. The most overpopulated state is Singapore. Then there's Israel and Kuwait. The runners-up are China, Indonesia, and India, respectively. This could be due to the lowering of mortality rates with the better medical studies or overfeeding the population themselves.
Overpopulation was starting to become a problem as early as the 1970s. Although the world's population was just half of what it is today, in countries like China, the consequences started to play a role in everyday life. This began happening when in 1949, the Chinese government condemned and even banned many types of contraceptives. As a result, their population doubled in less than 5 years. An average woman living in China would have about 6 children in her lifetime. The large population did not have enough food to go around. In 1959, up to 30 million people were killed during a lengthy famine. In 1979, the Chinese government took action, introducing the one-child policy, under which most couples were allowed to only have one child or face the consequences of abortion, fines, or sterilization. Now, the average child per month living in China is just above 1, 5 lower than it was 40 years ago. Just a few months ago, the one-child policy was removed, allowing couples to have as many children as they would like. However, the average child per family stayed put, as most people decided not to have any children, or just 1 or 2, due to economic benefits and social pressures. Like China, Indonesia is trying to prevent the population from growing at an alarming rate. The National Family Planning Coordinating Agency played a big role in the success of Indonesian population control. 2 of the biggest implementations by this agency were the increased quality of education of Indonesian women and the introduction of more successful contraceptives. These 2 things decreased the annual population growth from 2.2% in 1985 to 2% in 1990. That may not seem like a lot, but the 0.2% is the difference between 14 million people in Indonesia starting in 1990 and ending in 2013. While a greater population has some benefits such as a larger workforce, the negatives of overpopulation outweighs the positives. Overpopulation in the nation brings about issues like food shortages, job shortages, and overcrowding in an urban area. A country with an overpopulation problem will not have enough arable land to support their population. Many people will die of malnutrition until the population is small enough again to be supported. Job shortages have a similar effect. Not enough job openings for the population will result in many people becoming homeless, which will drag down the country's economy. Finally, overcrowding in cities results in a situation much like the urban migration during the Industrial Revolution. Pollution in bodies of water will increase due to there not being enough facilities for people to get rid of waste, and catastrophes like earthquakes and fires will be much more devastating. Crime rates would be uncontrollable due to not a large enough police force.